Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get our...
Welcome back to Cinerama with Papa and Mama. Also, first off, I apologize if you look at the flyer for the show, it says Mama and Papa. That's a mistake. I'll get that corrected. Sorry about that. These two are they weren't happy that I screwed that up, so I'm gonna fix that in post. But did you guys have a good week? Good week?
Yeah, it was a very good week.
Did you guys enjoy the first episode? We're done.
Done.
We're not done. We're not done. But we finished our first episode. We released it on March 21st. Does anyone know the significance of that?
Yeah.
March 24th was Holi.
Yes, the Holy
which
Week.
is our festival.
I should have
of
released it
colors.
on Holy, but I wanted to do. If you look at March 21st, that's 3, 2, 1. Which in movie cinema, you see the rolling picture. It goes 3, 2, 1.
Right.
But yeah, it was Holy. Happy Holy, everybody.
That's a festival of colors welcoming the spring.
So, like, my understanding of Holi, obviously Hindu holiday tradition, they throw color, but did you guys actually throw color in the house?
No, we
It's
don't
a hardwood floor. We can't throw
we don't
colors.
do
You know how
it.
you'll mess it up.
It is, and it's.
The wood would be
We
warm.
play outdoors.
You play outdoors.
Yeah.
But then one time in India, we did inside.
Yeah, they have marble floors, so they can wash them off. We don't have marble.
Not yet.
Yeah, well, not over here. I don't think it's feasible over here.
We just got the hardwood floor too.
Yeah, and we are not going to change.
Not for a while. That was pretty
I
hectic.
think it doesn't work in American weather.
Too right. Yeah, because
yeah,
it's
too
much
it's too
more.
cold. Yeah.
Well, they have these festivals in the Chicagoland area where, like, they will throw a little color outside, or like there's even like a thing called, I don't know if you guys know, this thing called the Color Run, where people for charity will run and then they'll kind of throw colored powder on them. Again, they're taking from our culture.
I think they're doing it Navy Pier.
They
I
did
think
it
they
at
already
Navy
did
Pier.
the
They
last
already did.
weekend.
They didn't even do it on the right day. They did it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So,
I think.
Hey, Navy Pier, this is from us. Get their day right.
So, yeah, basically, what are we gonna review today?
Yeah, we had a couple movies that we're going to review. Navy Pier's got to get that right. We had some movies we wanted to review. We watched, last week we talked about the Oscars. We talked about some of the excellent movies of the year. But there are also some movies that aren't as excellent out there. There's a joke, to say the least, obviously. Jimmy Kimmel made a joke in the Oscars about Madam Web, so we had you guys watch Madam Web, and we couldn't even. It wasn't even in the theaters anymore. You had to find it, But did you guys? Okay, so Madam Web. First off, the star of Madam Web, Dakota Johnson. She's Don Johnson's daughter, and she was also famously in the 50 Shades of Grey movie.
That was the best part of the movie, though.
Was her being
Watching her.
50 Shades of Grey.
No,
No.
watching her.
You know 50 Shades of Grey, right? It's
Yeah.
about
They came out with sequel also.
She
Multiple
became-
movies.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think she became famous from that. But in this movie, I was just enjoying watching her a little bit. Other than that, it was a bad movie week for us.
You didn't like
both the
Madam Web.
movie that we're going to discuss today.
Well, you understand, like, it's supposed to be a prequel to Spider-Man. That's the main. They're trying to do the origin story of Spider-Man. Madam Web is a more older character. If you go into the comic books, she's more older
And blind also.
Blind. Well, that's the thing. You get to see her from the beginning. This is sort of a bit of an origin story.
Actually, I read somewhere the director and the producer, they don't want it to be any part of the Spider-Man series. They want it to be Cassandra's story.
Right.
They wanted to emphasize her character and her story. Although there is a hint that the
Subtle hints, basically.
Ben Parker is in the movie.
He's the uncle. He's
And
the
I
uncle.
guess
Yeah.
Peter Parker is born, but they did not define his name in the movie.
I mean, they didn't define, but it's pretty much known that
No,
it's
no.
And you have the 3 spider hero
So
guardians.
basically, I think this is a prequel of that movie, but they did not say it clearly. In fact, the whole movie was kind of not that clear very frustrating to understand the plot.
Oh, so like you got upset.
Yeah, it's frustrating because we don't know, and it was not done properly. I think that's why I don't think a lot of people gave a good review. They were pretty bad reviews. I think they spent a lot of money on this film, but
I mean, most of these comic book movies, they cost like $100 million. Like you could feed a small country with $100 million. Instead, they're doing these movies, and a lot of people are getting kind of fatigued on comic book movies. It seems like every month there's new comic book movies.
My take was that it was too generic. Looked like no. Well, obviously, since you're saying it's more like a prequel, so they want to tone it down. No real special effects, no climax.
Yeah, very simplistic, grounded movie if you think about it. Yeah. So even though it's about Spider-Man.
And it's a hero. Yeah. I mean, even there was no climax in the fight between the villain and the superhero. I mean, that to me was more like you want a Cadillac and you got a Yugo. That was
that's a deep cut reference, everybody. Yugo. I haven't heard about that in a while.
Actually, Cassandra was a superhero, but a very reluctant one who didn't want to be a superhero type of attitude. So it was kind of either you're a superhero and you should behave like that, or you're not. So the whole thing was so confusing. She had not still figured out her capacity or her talent or whatever you call
the power was, she didn't know she even had the power.
Because I'm a big fan of these Marvel movies. I've been watching with my best friend, my daughter. So those are very
for those of you that don't know, you guys went through I believe it was last year, you kind of went through the Avengers series.
Yeah, because during pandemic,
were you watching too, or were you kind of forced?
Yeah, I was into that.
So basically, those are very clear, very solid, villain. Here, the villain was also not that sort of confident what that villain was trying to do. So the whole thing was a little bit amiss. It wasn't very well done film, and I don't think Dakota Johnson did gain anything from this movie. I think she would have been better with some other plot.
Well, I know what she gained. It was her acting salary, probably like whatever $4 or $5 million they gave her. She definitely gained that.
Maybe just the money part was there, but I think she's a good actress otherwise, and she did. I mean, I would give 1 star for the character, but other than that.
So you think the best part of the movie was her. Dakota? What about you? Like, what do you think was the best? Was there any defining good part?
Oh, I think they started the plot out pretty good, being in the
flashback.
And
Amazon,
jungle and all. And I think the only thing which came a little late in the movie, I thought when she goes to Peru and like how the guys who had saved her, the spider people.
Yeah, that orange.
She realized, because till then she was just hating her mom. She didn't have nothing to do. I mean, she goes to the baby shower. It was all like since she had a good childhood, so she didn't want to get involved.
Yeah, the baby shower was very interesting. You had comedian Mike Epps in there for 2 minutes or whatever. It was very interesting scene. They were trying to allude to Peter Parker. They didn't tell you his name of the baby, if you noticed that. They tried to do too many hints of Spider-Man, but not Spider-Man. I thought they played that up like, okay, if you're not going to talk about it.
But that is good part, though. They didn't want to spoil it by just saying like it's a definite prequel also.
And then that actor Adam Scott who played Ben Parker, he's been in a few things, big acting roles. It's funny. There's almost like a romantic allusion.
Innuendos between those two.
So it's kind of interesting that Madam Web, who later, in the comic book, she becomes a kind of guide and caretaker of Peter Parker, when he's going through the different dimensions and the different universes. And it's almost interesting that, Peter didn't know his uncle after a while because he passed away. But she at one point says in the comic books, I knew your uncle. And he's like, oh. So it's interesting that, she becomes like a guide, mentor to people. But again, they don't want to allude to that too much.
Yeah, too much. Give it away, too much. Like.
Well, only the best part of this movie I thought was that notebook that Mom used to write all those notes and draw little pictures.
That part was interesting to me, I thought, because you show a little more of the character, peel back the layers, show more history. you know, the origin of, hey, where do these spiders come? They're supposedly radioactive, but apparently these are natural spiders that are in nature. So I thought that part was good.
And that was the thing which I was alluding, that when she goes back to Peru, the spider, the same guy who delivered her, you know, he told her that you look from inside and you will have all the powers, you know. And the other thing he said, right now you can see the future, but he told from inside, if you want, you can be at multiple places at one time, you know. Three-dimensional, like you could go 3 places at the same time, and that's what basically the end of the fight scene, you know. That's how she saves.
That's how she saves the three guardians, the spider guardians, because they potentially are going to be future heroes. Yeah, there's some good themes about, you know, childhood trauma, fixing, you know, not getting too caught up in the past, but using your past to move on from it too, you know, because she was very bitter towards her mom, you know.
Yeah, why did she go when she was expecting a baby? But then she got the clarity from that other guy.
From her
explained,
and
she was trying to save. Yeah.
So she had a better, like,
understanding
of her mother's reasoning of going there. But then
it kind of goes back to a big thing, which is parents, you know, the sacrifices they make for
their children.
You guys sacrificed for me, and this is my thank you. We get to for this show.
To me, like it was more comic to see she's stealing a cab, and then it was throughout her that it was her car. You know, she wanted it after that, just using the car for everything.
Yeah. There was
a cab, rather,
in
stolen
real
cab.
world, you cannot get away like that. So
yeah, even if you're EMT,
this is just a movie.
I there were a few parts that were convoluted. Yeah, I like the messages. You know, the sacrifice that you guys, you know, parents make sacrifices for kids. That was a good message. And then one point she stole a cab. You were saying, you know, but then it'd be turned into like a weird like journey movie, like a road trip movie, because they're in the jungle at one point, you know.
And to leave all the 3, I mean, she was the guardian for the 3 teenagers.
But she just left.
But then she left for a week, just her partner. You know?
Yeah, I thought that was a little convoluted. I'm watching you, but then I have to leave. You know.
Even she does when she drops them in the wood, you know. At that
time,
she
has to leave too.
She could have taken all of them and gone at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know why she didn't. She's like, I just need you guys to stay here. That felt very complicated.
Yeah.
Then they go to the diner for some reason.
So what do we feel about this movie altogether? All of us are not in favor of it
That is wild that the executives, you're listening to us right now. We make the decision. So based on what we say, that determines. No, I actually am interested. I think there's more to the story. I don't know if they did a good job executing this vision, but I am a big Spider-Man fan. I still remember we went and saw the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. That's a movie I saw in theaters like 3 times at a time when we weren't going to a ton of theater movies. I remember we went to that, we saw that, I think we all went as a group to see it. And I think in the Spider-Man lore, I've always been fascinated with an underdog superhero. So I'm interested in seeing more from this, but I was not the biggest fan of this movie. There were a lot of convoluted side plots too.
Like, see, whenever you have a prequel, they made this now just the same analogy like Star Wars when it came out.
Yeah,
then after first 3 and nothing to do with how his earlier stage and all, and his dad's and all, when he was younger and he loses, you know, like he was caught in it. So that kind of thing, you don't know what will happen.
But in Star Wars, they had a better understanding of that it is a prequel. They specified a lot of things. Here, there is no clarity. I mean, she wanted it to be a Cassandra story, which is what the movie is. I mean, it's.
But then you have these 3 guardians. It's kind of their story too. But I think it's confusing at times. Not confusing, but I think it's convoluted in who. You know, like you just said. You know, it's for Cassandra, but then it's like, but you have these 3 girls also. One of them being a fairly famous actress, Sydney Sweeney, who she's getting. You know, it's kind of funny now. They're kind of making fun of the actors and actresses for taking the roles, but people do bad movies. I don't know why they're picking on Sydney Sweeney or whatever. She's getting money from it. She actually said, you know, that one actress, she played the one of the guardians of those 3 girls. She said, me taking on that role allowed me to then make another movie that I wanted to. Like you have to
Yeah,
make agreements with
right.
studios. So people, regular casual movie fans, don't think about that stuff. Don't criticize the actors.
Actually,
or
the
anything.
actors don't even know what the movie
Will become.
Return now
because
to be
there's
the
so
final.
much
That's a good
editing.
point,
We
yeah.
don't know. They don't know how the other actors are gonna,
Yeah.
do the
Plus,
acting
if you are a top notch, one of the top lead characters and then played like dinner and all, they will kind of look at the role and study the role a little bit and ask. They have more clout.
yeah.
These people
They
don't
have more
any
clout to
clout.
research,
Right, yeah.
I don't, and again, there's not too much. For these type of movies, there's not too many
Too much,
movies.
right,
You have to
yeah.
go back to the kind of the comic books.
Yeah.
Madam Web is not. I don't believe she's been featured. I looked. Has he been
Yeah.
featured in any of the movies? They alluded her to one of the cartoon Spider-Man movies. For the most part, she has not been featured in any.
Right,
Yeah,
major
there was a Madam Web in one of the cartoons.
Spider-Man. Yeah, they
but
into the
then
universe.
it is not related to this at all.
No, these are
Totally
all.
different character.
Yeah, different character and different, and her the way she enters Peter Parker's life is different in the comic books, different in TV show.
Yeah.
They had the Fox TV, Fox Kids had that 1998 Spider-Man show. I've watched that a few times. That Madam Web is she's like in a parallel universe and kind of older. So that was my thinking. But she is blind though. That is the key.
Yeah,
she-
this
right.
one is not blind. And
Well,
And she was much
can
older.
But I like the way they introduced. I actually thought that part towards the end was interesting. How she lost her sight, sacrificing. to
Yeah,
save her.
correct, right, yeah.
I like that they didn't go straight to she's blind.
Right, yeah.
But then
They had a story to
There
tell.
was a
and
story
they-
to tell. Also, like you don't see a lot of. I mean, I still remember the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, the ambulance movie or whatever. Like you don't see a ton of movies about sort of ambulance, sort of the EMTs and all.
Right.
So there's a little bit of fast pace there that I liked. But I also found just going, she can see through time. So the way they execute that with the effects of like she's going back in time and she's not, she's jittery. It almost felt a little like like uncomfortable at times. I don't know if
no,
you guys picked up on
actually, that scene where the pigeon hits the window.
Right, and you see it
then
repeated.
she opens the window, and then pigeon comes in. That's when she realizes she can save lives.
Yeah.
That was the very key.
The very key moment.
where her eyes were all lighted up, thinking that she can.
But
be
then
of
in
some
the
help.
in the second following up, she could save her partner,
Yeah,
the
but
one
that
which she
time she was
foreseen.
not that prepared. But then she, in that subway scene or the train,
afterwards,
she
right.
really was.
And to think of it, I thought the villain was too bland,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, that old guy,
yeah.
the guy from who
I
killed
mean,
the
he
mom.
had all the, he broke into the security where he could watch all the cameras in New York.
That just felt a little convoluted. Like, how much
Yeah.
money do you? What is he, like some drug dealer, supervillain or something?
Correct.
Yeah.
And it was never explained also why he killed the mom. He wanted the spiders, but like, what did he? So
Like
he,
a one-liner, he
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I was when I was growing up, I had nothing to do with it,"
yeah. So I want
That
like,
was
or
it.
like he thought they
Yeah.
were taking the spiders. So that
Right,
was
yeah.
not.
He wanted to
properly-
make it big. He knew he would make it big if he had a live spider to
But
his.
do the spiders?
What was he doing?
get
Carnivals
that
with the
much?
carnival tricks with the spiders? What was he
Yeah.
doing with
How
that?
much money can you get
Make from a spider? Yeah, I don't know. Was he using the spiders to like gamble and predict winnings?
Maybe going to.
But they show him playing with the spiders on his
A
fingers.
little
and
bit.
all,
I know
and
there was the
he's
one
like,
spider there, but also like here's where it gets a little fuzzy for me. In the comic books and in the origin of Spider-Man, take the Tobey Maguire or any of the Spider-Man series. It's a radioactive spider that bit.
Right.
These aren't radioactive; these are natural in the Amazon. So, are these cousins of the radioactive spiders? Are they related to the radioactive? They could have dived into that a little bit more.
Yeah, but I don't think there are radioactive spiders.
Maybe in the next.
But in the real world, there are maybe these interesting Amazon spiders
Yeah,
or something.
there
But these, I think, there might be more of a sequel. They left some few things open.
They left a lot open,
Well,
thinking
yeah,
they would get a
yeah,
second
right,
movie. So
sequel.
we'll
Maybe that's where they will clarify
I
a few
hope
other
they do a
things.
better job with her second one if they are gonna make.
Okay, so then let's do this. If it should, okay, kind of what we alluded to earlier. No, I'm gonna say it. Kind of what I alluded to earlier is we're kind of pretend we have a meeting with the executives and we're telling them whether or not to make a second movie. Do you think they should be able to make a second Madam Web 2, or is this movie so convoluted it doesn't deserve a sequel? Does it deserve a sequel? You start that.
I guess it's depends on how big of a fan you are for Spider-Man, you know.
There's a market for it.
Yeah, so
there have been 3 different reboots.
Right, yeah.
Just
so,
in our last.
so that's what I'm saying. Maybe then they will dive into and explain a little bit how the prequel, because this will be a sequel, so they will maybe clear a few things.
You're right.
Know? And they have to build a story to go on and then see, you know, like right now they didn't show much about the 3 teenage being, you know, what powers, they got,
how they even get their powers. We don't know. Yeah. It's a lot of open ends.
I think it can be Madam Web too, because they can show more about Peter Parker being born and what he does during that time, and also if they do a better plot and not make it that confusing. Any story can be told in a better way.
Right.
And maybe they didn't do a good job with this one, but if they have a good story after Madam Web to Madam Web 2, it can be done very well. I can see it being done in a more professional way.
Do you think we're reaching though the ceiling of superhero movies? You know, there's been talk and a lot of audiences are getting superhero fatigue and there's still more superheroes to come a lot of superhero movies come out in the summer. You know, this one was rare.
But
it
I
came out
think there
in the
is a
spring.
big audience for superhero movies.
And there's a global audience also.
And so
and plus more and more kids, they get.
It's not even kids, it's people who
happen,
feel that it's just a good feeling that there is a person who can save.
Good over evil,
Right.
that's always.
Yeah.
Well, that's tale as old as time.
Yeah, so basically.
So like growing up, did you guys read comic book? Are you familiar with some of these superheroes? Like what did you like?
Yeah, obviously Superman was there.
That was
Batman,
Batman
they were
was
popular,
there, Superman. We used to have Mandrake and
Mandrake,
there
was
a
that?
comic
magician.
series Mandrake. I think it's.
He was a magician.
Maybe we need to reboot that.
Yeah, and he was pretty good at saving,
Was
communities.
Panther part of the Mandrake thing?
I think Luther was the man. Yeah, but
Mandrake
then,
and Luther, they sound like
Luther was the.
you sound like lawyers on daytime TV.
No, he was pretty strong guy.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying that episode of Cinerama. We got a couple sponsors for you. First up is a great sponsor. It's Puerto Rican refrigerator magnets. Are you traveling to Puerto Rico? Are you not sure what to get your loved one or your parent that you don't really talk to? Or an ex-girlfriend that you're stealing your commercial-free Peacock password from? Great for the fridge. Great for that middling nobody in your life. Get the magnet today. I made you guys watch Saltburn, which that was definitely not a tame. That's like the opposite of an Archie comic. It's a pretty...
Actually, the film, people who do film reviews, they have to watch all different types of things just to see what's out there, and it's pretty disgusting to see some of the they have.
So you're gonna straight up call it disgusting, first one.
Very disgusting. Comes down. Actually, this filmmaker
Emerald Fennell from the UK. Yeah.
She did win an Oscar for her previous movie.
Promising Young Woman,
Promising
which kind of
Young
dealt with dating and the way
so
men
I guess,
and women related.
she deals with very, very mental, sort of state of mind of people who are not happy. They are kind of frustrated. So
she explores human relations,
So that's her genre.
And,
but she also uses intense imagery and intense music in these movies. So
basically, what she's trying to portray in this movie.
are you like mad that I made you watch it, or you guys are okay that you watched it?
I mean,
I didn't care of it.
You didn't care?
Because it wasn't even nominated. Yeah.
You were like, oh, it's not nominated. Why am I watching? Well, Fast 10 wasn't nominated. You watched it.
Actually, have you watched any films of Swedish filmmaker Ingmar Bergman?
Ingmar Bergman. I have only seen bits and pieces in school. They made me watch clips and all, but I think we should review for a future
Because
episode.
the thing is that he did deal with a lot of controversial
Imagery,
topics,
Mhm.
and he did it so beautifully with so much, what is it called? A very pleasant and entertaining way. So his films were Wild Strawberry, Virgin Spring, So Close to Life. They're all very intense films of similar topics, but done in such a beautiful way. And
So what you're trying to say, this was not beautiful. This was
it
ugly.
was ugly, and I would say could have. I mean, was it a box office hit or?
It did really well overseas, actually, in the UK. So they're talking. So Saltburn, which I know you were calling it Saltburn.
Yeah, I mean, Berg is a town in. Isn't it Berg is the
So in the UK, Saltburn is the actual
It's
town.
the actual town.
that's
But
why
I get
thought-
why you're saying Berg. Our Illinois suburbs are all like Schaumburg, you know.
Yeah, Berg means a town, and I thought Saltburn.
And it's a pretty.
That's-
the town
that's-
is a rich neighborhood. too.
They're gonna make a
It's
sequel. It's gonna be called Schaumburn, which imagine people getting drunk and naked in Schaumburg. Schaumburg.
So basically, I think this lady, Emerald Fennell, she defended why she have these type of scenes.
She was trying to make a point about
She
the
said,
rich and
I
excess.
couldn't have
Yeah.
described the mental state of this person if I
Without-
didn't do it this.
Mhm.
But her previous film was as disgusting as this one, and that did win Oscars. So maybe she thinks it's all okay to put any kind of material in any of these films. This,
Well,
Do you think it was disgusting for so
more
what you're-
than disgusting? I think.
Do you think it was disgusting for the sake of disgusting, or there
Yeah.
was a point?
Right, but
draw
I-
attention.
Yeah.
But I thought that the topic in this is also they cover is the obsession the one person has for infatuating
Like
with
very
somebody.
keen,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a keen.
Yeah.
And those scenes, gross scenes, some of the worst gross scenes were portrayed by the director as a product of intense
Obsession,
desire
yeah.
and obsession. So they had to bring it out in that way,
Yeah, a lot of people
I
were
think that's
saying
it.
that the two main characters. There was that Oliver Barry Keegan's character he was in love with them.
Yeah,
He was obsessed with him.
one-sided love.
One-sided love, yeah.
basically.
But he wanted to be him.
Felix, and I think
Yeah.
that's what I basically liked was not like, but I was kind of impressed with the last few minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
where after killing the whole Catun family, however you pronounce
Yeah,
it,
basically he rids the aristocratic.
and then he kind of became the sole owner of the mansion.
And then he's
And
kind of
that's
mocking
where-
their memory by
But then coming to the last, how he struts in the whole mansion nude,
yeah.
and then kind of way throughout the scene, and he's kind of basically trying to show off Felix, hey, who's the man now,
Yeah, he's showing off to his memory. Because if you remember in the beginning
That's
of the
it,
movie
right.
when he's
He
getting the
showed
tour,
that whole tour.
Tour, yeah.
so it's basically a reverse tour.
Reverse tour, right?
With-
Yeah.
with him
his
mocking
way
him
of
by
telling,
being
you know.
nude. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
film till he reaches Saltburn, it was fine that he's infatuated by this man who's
And he's kind of
surrounded by and good-looking man.
good looking, but he's also he feels not confident in himself. He feels lost at the.
But then
He was at Oxford, right?
Right, Oxford.
Some rich British
Right,
boarding
yeah.
school. You know?
But then he did. He was trying to, because he was bringing him up with he became a popular, one of the group's member, through
Again, he was
Felix.
obsessed with the stats.
Yeah, right, yeah.
See how these popular kids draw attention, and some non-popular kids, they are not accepted. That part was there in the beginning, and how he conquered that, their friendship,
Yeah, but he
by-
manipulated.
But that's as we learn.
Yeah.
I thought she did a great job. A lot of people thought it was just a gratuitous movie. Yes, there's sipping of secretions in the movie. Which
Put it very politely.
that's the nice way of saying it, sipping of secretions. Yeah.
Right.
Which I was doing as a joke, and somebody's like, "You're spoiling the movie," and I'm like, "No, I didn't tell you the secretions that were sipped. I didn't tell you what time in the
Yeah.
movie it was sipped. I didn't tell you who sips it. You have to find out. You gotta watch the movie." But the point I'm trying to make is, when we think about the UK, we think about class structure and people getting obsessed with rich. There's a
Right,
phrase right
yeah.
now: "Eat the rich." Like,
The aristocrats
people are
and the-
sick of the
yeah.
aristocrats. We're sick of the monarchy.
Monarchy and all.
we being Indian of descent, we don't exactly have a good relationship with British monarchy. I would think you'd be happy with, hey, this guy goes in and takes down the monarchy, takes down that aristocratic
I
family.
didn't see it that way, but yeah.
You didn't see, so you saw it more just gratuitous.
I just saw it as infatuation and.
Do you think it was love or infatuation for status?
No, I think it was love. He loved.
You thought he truly loved him. Okay.
I thought he wanted to be like him.
No,
I
I
think
think he loved him.
That's
Just
the debate.
wanted him
Yeah.
so much, and he was always Felix was good-looking man with girls around him. That didn't bother him as long as he gave him attention. That's all he wanted.
He sought. He was deficient of. He had a deficiency for attention. He wanted his attention because if you remember. When he ignores him in the beginning, before even he goes to Saltburn, he ignores him and goes to the bar. And then Oliver gets that girl who was being ignored by him, and he tried almost to backstep.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he wanted the attention.
They both were like dumped kind of.
Yeah.
But the mental health issue is a very important issue. One should take it seriously. That's what it came out from this.
But I think being obsessed with somebody is not like a mental issue.
If people they don't get what they
beyond obsessed, he lied about his dad dying.
Clearly
it was all. But then that's the thing was he fully?
Because he was asking for sympathy, and he known for the sympathy, and that's how he got invited to the. Like he said, he doesn't have any place to go.
But so
and that's what
there's a bigger point here. Like there's so many mentally ill people who are functioning. This is a mentally ill guy who got into Oxford.
I know.
Yeah.
We probably have people that we know in our lives who are like, how are they that they can do that? They can function in a regular society level, but then they're psychopaths and they do these disturbing things.
That's why it is important that mental health issues should be addressed. And it should be taken.
Some of these people never get it addressed.
This is what I got.
It's a character study from this movie. Yeah.
And it's very important. That
but there are a couple of movies made over here also called Obsession. They have made it.
Yeah, a lot of people compared this movie to like Talented Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
Which I never saw, so maybe that's fine.
Actually, one of our friends she did see, and she said it's very similar to it, but it doesn't have this gratuitous and creepy.
You're telling me there's no graveyard scene in there,
yeah.
Which that was so a little bit about that graveyard scene. So first off, did you actually you watched the graveyard scene? Just for the record.
I didn't watch.
There was a few times we had to fast forward it.
Of the secretion scene, how much of the secretion scene did you catch?
No, that one we couldn't fast forward because we didn't know what is coming next.
We knew that this movie
is gonna have some problems.
Have problems, so we started fast forward.
They actually at one of the movie theaters they were giving out drinks in the they created like a bathtub glass and were selling drinks out of the.
That's what I'm saying. That this society needs a lot of improvement. There are much better ways to get the joy and entertainment than this. That's all it is.
I mean, I don't want to tell you that 21-year-olds are eating ass now. I don't think you want to hear about that either.
No.
These kids today, they're doing something. I mean, you remember I had that job where I used to monitor kids on Facebook. Like they're not doing good stuff out there, right?
Yeah, so that means they need better.
I mean, there are probably people right now.
Guidance.
Yeah,
there are people right now that should be watching our podcast instead they're watching something more inappropriate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they should be inspired to do more creative things and a more pleasant way. There is all kinds of joy available in this world than doing this disgusting thing. We are not animals. We are human beings. We have such good senses. We have so much brain that we can create a lot of pleasant
Our
things.
culture also did create Kama Sutra, which involves sex, though. We are sexual beings, though.
Yeah, but we are not animals.
We're not animals. So you think the sipping of secretion and the graveyard, penis and graveyard is
not needed.
That's necrophilia. That's a whole thing. But
that is not needed in this.
And you're missing out the drinking of the blood. The vampire.
Yeah.
That was worse. That was.
I didn't see that. Thank God.
That was even worse. That's when we
He's
started
drinking the blood.
really-
Yeah, he's drinking the blood. I mean,
That's-
he also murdered them. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Like
obviously.
straight up.
But see, there are gory scenes and a lot of scary movies and all
Yeah.
blood and this and that's
But,
different.
But
this
this
was
film
a
didn't get
little
that
bit
much attention, so that shows that people didn't care about
some
it.
bodily function.
But to me, that's you have to. You know, there's so many movies out there. That how do you make your film stand up when you're trying to make these heavy points?
Yeah,
So in her mind, Emerald's mind, I think she was trying to use these gratuitous scenes to illustrate the point that he's obsessed. That's where I
But
don't
That's
know.
the-
if
that
the
is the
film
main
didn't
thing.
work
Yeah.
and it didn't gross as much money as she expected, that means she failed, and I'm glad.
No, but it
she
was a
did.
low budget thing, I think. You know, low budget.
These type of
yeah,
movies, you know, yeah, they want to make for a certain, they want to make their money back, obviously. But I think critically, it got a lot of reactions. People were like, and then there were people that would hear about it and they
And
would
then
go watch
they want to go
because of
yeah,
that.
see it. Right,
There's also
yeah.
a market for that.
Market for that, yeah.
I will say this.
What is the thing?
They're
So they-
torn. It creates
Right.
debate. We're talking about it right now.
So,
Whether or not he
so
loved
we
it.
are saying that
Yeah.
these scenes are created to make money out of it. Isn't
Great,
that
draw
bad?
attention. Yeah,
And
maybe.
isn't that bad that somebody's is not talented enough to give us a good film, that they have to bring such scenes to draw attention?
If that's your
If that is
maybe
what
that is your
is
opinion. Then.
needed.
If you think it was gratuitous, so you truly believe that it was gratuitous for the sake.
Yeah.
It
And
did not add to the love story.
If you want to tell a story in a very artistic and pleasant way, same story could have been told in a different way.
But you also think he was in love, not obsessed, or you do think there
No,
was
I
some.
think he was in love, and
That's
and
that's
he
interesting.
was frustrated because he couldn't get him. And
To me, it went
actually-
beyond love when he's lying about his dad.
and he really the way he used to look at him. I really liked the film till he went to
Salt.
Salt.
So you only like the first 20.
Burn.
Yeah, before he went to Schaumburg.
Yeah, before he reached there, you know, it was coming out to be fine. You know that he likes this man, and he
But you only like the first 40 minutes, basically. It's a long movie.
and he tried to find his place in his life. That was there. Then my God,
Then it turned into,
disaster. You know.
But did you like the way the lighting? You know, there were extra effects that Emerald Fennell did. You know, with the way the lighting was, the way she kind of lit all the old rooms when they were like when he's giving that
Yeah,
tour initially.
basically the tour.
The
and
music,
all
I thought the
that.
music was the way the music kind of fit. I mean, especially in the last scene when he's
Yeah,
naked.
but then
You know that song
yeah.
has become very popular now. That
I
artist,
didn't
that
mind
song
the
is
last scene.
yeah.
I didn't mind it.
You didn't mind when he's naked.
Yeah, I mean, he was dancing.
So you are pro penis, but not penis in graveyard. That is what you're.
Actually, I didn't mind. That last scene was not as.
I think it wasn't as gross.
some
you
of
know.
the
It wasn't
things
gratuitous.
he
To me,
did.
it was a symbolic scene.
Symbolic.
And if you
It
notice that-
had to do, I think, for his like, hey, I'm one up.
Yeah,
you know,
I won.
Yeah.
And if you notice that puppet thing that he was playing at the end,
They're right.
you know what was on top of that? That was their dead. Remember how they said when you get dead, you create the stone with their name on it. All their dead stones were on top. So he'd been playing the family like a.
That was kind
It
of
was a
the
metaphor.
symbol,
See,
sure, yeah.
all this metaphor. Now all people are talking about those three scenes. So
They're not talking about
is
the
it
metaphors.
is it what the director and the producer wanted?
Well, some directors are
See,
open to interpret it. They
so-
want the art to be provocative.
Yeah, so everything was sort of forgotten except these few scenes that people are talking about.
Right.
So do you really think that's what the director wanted, or not forget all the good parts and everything artistic she did? Like I liked the way the whole Saltburn was set up, and the whole mansion.
Mansion.
And all that.
I mean, there's history there.
Everything
It's like decades of
so
family.
that was all forgotten. Even the way he was dancing at the end, it didn't bother me. But then this is all forgotten because of those bad scenes that she defended that I think those scenes were very important to create the mental state of this person.
You have to show the imagery of the state.
Yeah, so how mentally ill was he? And so that draws our attention to that this type of issue should be addressed, and people need help. And
Well,
people
I think
should
more
help.
than the mental issue, I think some people when they get obsessed, they go to
They
that
can
limit.
do- they can do anything.
Their mind is, if I cannot get the person,
Nobody
so
can.
nobody
Yeah.
can.
They're
That
going
was
that
the
far.
whole thing, that
100%.
far.
Yeah.
So if
So-
he couldn't get it, so he started killing
I mean,
it.
that way,
Nobody will get
that
it.
way Barry Keoghan did such a fantastic acting job getting in the mind of this
Mind of-
obsessed
yeah.
person.
And not only that, even bullying and the popular student and some students are not accepted in the group type of thing. And
But that's a
That's
tale as
true.
old as that's
type
been going
of-
on forever. You
So
know?
that is also
That's a
how
bigger issue then.
nerve-wracking is
Mhm.
for the students, that they are bullied or they are looked down upon by the popular students.
And it made him kind of jealous. I think some of his
Yeah.
jealousy came from. If you look at the first scene in the movie, he's the way that it's shot, that the tower of the Oxford building is right there, and he's so tiny in that frame of he's intimidated.
Right.
He's considered like, you know, who is this guy who just came in scholarship or whatever. Like they're making fun of the kids who got scholarship as
And
opposed
he
to the
was a
actual
good
rich ones.
student. I
That's the
think.
sad truth. Yeah,
But the whole thing is
he
that
went down a wrong path.
this type of thing is going on for years, not now. Even 100 years back, there were popular students and there were.
There's still popular kids getting
Yeah.
who get elevated
And
and
then
Yeah.
get
they,
advantages too.
they make their own fraternity, they stay away from this other people.
Rich people get advantages.
Yeah,
You know.
so that type of thing is there, and that should also get abolished, and that should not exist.
Well, there's a very popular thing right now. This is the last thing. We're kind of wrapping up here. There's a thing right now called Nepo baby. It's a term used for like people who get ahead because of their family status. You know, to bring it back to Madam Web, that's Dakota Johnson, who's a very fantastic actor, got an opportunity being Nepo baby. So do you guys think
Nepotism, basically.
nepotism? I mean, nepotism's been around since
That
forever.
has been. Yeah.
Do you think we could ever get to a point where nepotism doesn't exist? I think not.
I
No,
agree.
actually,
I don't think it will go.
having a lot of money and clout is always been
That's
a
human
way
nature,
to
I think. I don't think
get
societal.
things, you know.
We can't get rid of it. Like that won't be in our lifetime.
Even in schools or colleges, I would say in Ivy League schools, people get in
Yeah.
because of if their
Suppose
dad
parents
wasn't
went
there,
So
or
supposedly someone got, yeah.
or they give donations or something.
There was
like
big
that.
scandals with all that stuff, you know. But
So I think that is all there, and that also creates frustration for people who don't.
and then
have
they write
that.
movies where people get obsessed with them and kill their family. Yeah. Was there any sort of satisfaction? This is the last thing I'll say. Any sort of satisfaction with you saw this British aristocratic family and they got taken down. Being that the British
No.
exploited our people, there was no satisfaction from that.
No, we don't think.
I
British
didn't
are
look at
that way.
from.
You didn't look at it that way.
Yeah. Because the characters was a little bit, difference, So
We,
I don't think
don't,
it came to
feel
mind.
that,
Well, maybe if we were Irish. I know Irish people definitely felt that way. They had their own problems. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Cinerama. But we got a great sponsor for you. It's Classic Stapler. Classic Stapler. You might remember the red stapler from Office Space. It's not that one. It's just classic black stapler. Oh, don't prick your fingers. You still got to turn in paperwork sometime. It's not all email. Use classic black stapler.
movie week next time.
So yeah, you were.
This was not a good week for us, but we
It
did
was a
watch
tolerable week, at least. You guys enjoyed it
watched.
somewhat.
and,
And so Barry Keoghan, who, funny enough, to bring it full circle to comic book movies from Saltburn. Barry Keoghan, who played Oliver in Saltburn, played a very psychotic role. He's also playing Joker in one of the Batman movies.
I think
so look at that.
I would
His
give for
portrayal
the
helped.
cast.
Yeah.
I think he did a good job, and
Yeah.
so did the Felix.
Jacob Elordi, yeah, who's
Yeah.
also in a show called Euphoria, which if you are uncomfortable with sex, I don't know if you want to get into that movie too.
No, I would not watch anything.
Euphoria,
like that, which is
if any of the sexual stuff makes you uncomfortable, you may not like Euphoria.
well. We will see you guys again next week.
Okay.
with,
Take care, everybody.
Few new movies and some more talk about the films.
Maybe more arguing this time. We'll see.
Have a great week, everyone.
Take care.
Enjoy the
Bye.
spring. Bye.
I know you guys can't follow them on Instagram, but you can follow me at Prateek Comedy on Instagram, at Cinerama on Instagram. Cinerama at Gmail. Cinerama Papa Mama on Gmail. If you want us to review a movie, we'll actually review your movie.
Yeah, send us some
Recommendations.
comments,
Yeah. So email us, follow me, and we'll see you guys.
Let's
Bye.
all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.